Welcome everyone. We are here with Mike Paulhus, who is a partner at King Spalding's Atlanta office. And Mike, tell us about your panel at this year's Qui Tam conference. It's on ethics.
It is. So we're pulling together a panel. I'm going to have the defense bar's perspective. We have Jennifer Verkamp, who's going to join us and provide the whistleblower perspective. And then we have a surprise guest, soon to be determined. We've invited someone from civil frauds who we think will be an excellent addition. So we'll have a government perspective on the panel as well. We'll cover a swath of topics, but we're gonna be pivoting for everyone in the audience to have a perspective from where they're coming from. So you'll hear the relator's perspective, the government perspective, and the defense bar's perspective.
And that's so important because, we kind of get siloed, especially under the False Claims Act, where these cases are under seal for so very long. We sometimes don't realize kind of what's going on the other side. What are the kind of common ethical issues that we might cover at least a little bit in the panel?
Sure. Well, one thing that was part of the genesis of this program is Jennifer and I were on a panel last year at the program relating to mediation and settlement. And the most interesting, and it wasn't contentious, it was contentious in a fun way. We were exploring a dialogue was about settlement quandaries. So for example, defense counsel putting a bundled settlement offer on the table. And hearing back from Jennifer, that creates serious ethical quandaries for me when she's saying I've got to figure out how much to recommend to my client for the retaliation claim versus attorney's fees. And then me explaining from my client's perspective, money's fungible. I don't really care how you allocate it. And so we're having this really good dialogue about how does that affect the ethics of going through settlements in these cases that have all these different permutations of the government piece and the relator piece and the attorney's fee piece, and how different ethical quandaries can arise.
And so too, maybe just from the relator side, one of the debates we have is, when to include individuals
right
in a complaint. And my guess is that, for us, we might look at that very differently from defense counsel, who might have a whole host of ethical issues that come up, right?
Well, exactly. And that's something that we're going to talk about in some length on the panel, and that's a particular defense bar issue problem, right? And it's when can I have a joint client? When should I have a joint client? How do I plan ahead if there is a separation between the company and the individual? Especially if you have an individual named, I might have a different perspective. Or if the individual who's maybe in harm's way is just a much more junior person, then I might be able to work with that person. So there's a lot of ethical issues that you're dealing with on the defense side. Also appreciating the upjohn warning, and why do we give upjohn warnings, and why are we trying to make sure people understand who's their lawyer and how you can trip into a representation if you're not being thoughtful about it. And those issues are even more important as we have had the focus of individual accountability that DOJ has been focused on.
And so for our government lawyers, and there are a lot of them that will be in the audience, maybe kind of understanding the unique ethical issues that each side has in their cases, that might kind of give a window into, maybe what to do and what not to do, even from a government perspective.
Absolutely. So, I have dialogues with government lawyers at times where I'm trying to explain it, and sometimes it can get lost, the back end implications of pursuing individuals and why I need a release for individuals, and the fact that we may well be being obligated to indemnify individuals. So you can say you need an individual payment for an individual, but we may have statutory or contractual obligations to indemnify that individual. So we may get to the same place. So we get some interesting interactions where it's enjoyable to have that dialogue with the government folks to explain, this is, in my world, the business rationale that we've got to sort through, and the ethical implications of me representing or working on behalf of that individual.
So last year we had kind of an interactive software that we used to kind of get folks in the audience into the panel. Anything like that this year?
Absolutely. We're planning to do that. It's an interactive. You can use your smartphone, and we're going to bake in questions, and hopefully we'll be able to project on the screen how people are responding to the specific questions to really make it interactive. So,
it sounds terrific.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be fun.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Lawyers are people too.
Right.
Other than faith and family, give us a sense. What's your passion? What gets you up?
Sure. Well, I'm passionate about the arts. I sit on the board of the Atlanta Opera in Atlanta, and I guess there's a certain performance art to being a lawyer and being standing up in court. So I like to see other people perform. So that's kind of where I spend a good bit of my time.
Mike, thank you.
Absolutely.
And we look forward to seeing each of you on February 27th and 28th here in Washington. To register, you can find us at fedbar.org.